Anthropic just dropped something huge that's really making waves in the AI world, the Claude 3 model family. And these aren't just, minor updates. We're talking about a whole new generation of models that are setting a new standard for what AI can actually do. So what exactly makes them so special? Okay, let's get into it.
Right, and that's the big question on everyone's mind, isn't it? We're not just talking about being a little bit better. We're talking about fundamental leaps in reasoning, in understanding, and even in perception. And with Claude 3, it looks like we're getting a pretty clear answer. First things first, this isn't just one model, it's a whole family. Anthropic has rolled out 3 different models, and each one is tailored for a specific need. It's kind of like having the perfect tool for whatever job you're trying to do. So first up, you've got Opus. This is the big one, the powerhouse of the family. It's designed for the most complicated analysis, for research, for any task that needs multiple steps. Then there's Sonnet, which you can think of as the workhorse. It hits that sweet spot between smarts and speed, which makes it perfect for most business needs like processing data or automating sales. And finally, you have Haiku. Think of this one as the speed demon. It's all about near-instant answers, which is exactly what you need for things like customer service chats or content moderation, where every millisecond counts.
All right, let's talk performance, because this is where things get really, really interesting. Now, we're not talking about small steps forward, we're talking about a genuine leap. The Claude 3 family, and especially Opus, is basically making a play for the top spot in the entire industry. And here's the headline, really. Claude 3 Opus is outperforming its competitors on several of the most important academic benchmarks. These are the standardized tests we use to measure an AI's intelligence. And this covers the whole gamut, from general knowledge all the way to some seriously tricky problem solving. Okay, so don't just take my word for it. Look at the numbers. You can see Opus just inching ahead on MMLU, which is a big test of general knowledge. But what's really telling is where it just blows the competition away. On graduate level questions, that's GPQA, it has a massive lead. And in coding and math, it's not even a close race. This is a clean sweep on some of the toughest tests out there. Let's just zoom in on this one number for a second. 95%. That's Opus's score on the grade school math benchmark. And look, this isn't just basic addition or subtraction. We're talking about complex, multi-step word problems that need actual reasoning. Nailing that kind of score shows a huge leap in the model's ability to actually think its way through a problem, step by step. Okay, so it's brilliant, but raw horsepower isn't everything, right? A powerful AI also has to be useful and, well, helpful. One of the most frustrating things about older models was how often they just refuse to answer perfectly safe questions. Claude 3 takes a massive step forward here. And this example just perfectly captures the difference. A user asks for a simple outline for a sci-fi novel. The older model, Claude 2.1, it just sees a keyword like surveillance and totally shuts down, saying it can't help for safety reasons. But Opus, it gets the context. It understands, hey, this is just a creative prompt, and gives a really helpful detailed outline. It just has a much better grasp of nuance. And that wasn't just a one-off lucky guess. You can see it right here in the data. The whole Claude 3 family is way better at figuring out what's actually harmful. That means they're way less likely to get tripped up by harmless requests, which makes them so much easier and honestly less frustrating to use every day. Okay, so the intelligence is one thing, but now let's talk about the next giant leap, vision. For the first time ever, the Claude models can see. They are now multimodal, which means they can process and analyze not just text, but images, charts, and graphs, which, as you can imagine, opens up a whole new universe of possibility. Just take a look at this. To get this answer right, the model has to do 3 totally different things. First, it has to tap into its own knowledge base to know what the G7 countries even are. Then it actually has to look at the chart to pull the right data points for just those countries. And finally, it has to do the math to find the average. This is seriously sophisticated stuff, combining world knowledge with visual analysis. And check this out for a practical, real-world use case. You've got this messy whiteboard photo, with terrible handwriting, and boom, it transcribes it perfectly into clean, structured JSON code. Just think about how much time that would save after a brainstorming meeting. It really shows how this vision capability isn't just a cool party trick, it's an incredibly useful tool. Okay, so with all this amazing new power, you have to ask the big question, right? How do we make sure it's safe? So for this last part, let's peek under the hood at how Anthropic is tackling this huge responsibility. So the core of Anthropic's safety philosophy is something they call constitutional AI.
The idea is actually pretty simple, but really powerful. Instead of only training the model to be helpful, you also give it a constitution, a set of core principles that are based on ideas from things like the UN Declaration of Human Rights to guide its behavior and make sure it stays helpful, honest, and harmless.
And that's not all. Building on top of that, Anthropic has a public policy for responsible scaling. It's essentially a rulebook they follow to systematically check for any huge risks before a model ever sees the light of day. The entire Claude 3 family was put through this process and classified as AI Safety Level 2, which basically means that after all their tests, they didn't find any signs that it could pose a catastrophic risk.
And I think this quote really says it all. They're being really upfront that AI safety isn't a problem-solved situation. It's an ongoing, collaborative effort that needs constant work, not just from them, but from the entire AI community.
Which, of course, brings us to the big final question we all have to think about. The Claude 3 family gives us a glimpse of a future where AI is more intelligent and more perceptive than we've ever seen. But as these amazing capabilities grow, so does our responsibility. The challenge for all of us, really, is to make sure that as we keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible, we're building technology that truly stays aligned with what's best for humanity.